guys, Rasmus here, and today we're looking at the ENGL E530 preamp that I have here. I have it hooked up to my Peavey 6505. I'm just using the 6505 as a power amp, so all of the controls here do nothing. The only thing that does anything is the resonance and presence. So the volume is actually also controlled up here, so basically the power amp is going like full gas, and then you just control the input volume up here. Now I have looked at this unit before, but this video is more going to be in like just sit and talk through the various channels and go through the channels one by one, and also with some few pedals and see what we can do. So for pedals I have a tube screamer, or well, it's a Harley Bentron tube screamer, but a tube screamer nevertheless. A tuner, I will not be demoing that. And then I have my Hall of Fame reverb up here, so I can use that for some leads and some clean parts. Now, I guess I should have like a rack mount for this, because this setup, honestly, it looks pretty janky. I think it sounds great, but it doesn't look pretty. But anyway, that's not what we're here to do. It's not to make it look pretty, we're here to check if it sounds good, right? First off, let's start with the clean channel. I'm using my Jackson Chris Broderick soloist, and I have a black window in the bridge and a DiMarzio PAF in the neck. So yeah. So this is just a clean sound without any reverb or anything. And that's just the bridge pickup here. Let's try and switch it to the neck. And let's try and adding a bit of reverb, as I guess that would be along the lines of what you would actually usually do. So first off, let's try and play around with the gain a bit. So I have it pretty low here at like 9 or 10, so let's try and see where it goes. We get a bit of crunch out of it, but not a lot. So let's try and roll this back to where I think it sounds good, which is around that 9, 10, 11-ish place. So next up we have a bright switch. Without the bright switch. I honestly prefer it without the bright switch. It adds a lot, well, of brightness, but it's kind of too much to end up with this very thin and quaggy thing. But I guess for some styles that's what you want, but well, not for me. Then we have the usual bass, middle and treble, so I'll just quickly go over those. So that's bass. generally for the EQ sections, the knobs sound great at 12 o'clock, like 11 or 1 o'clock can also be fine, but outside that, I think it starts to get too much, and you're kind of messing up the sound. So middle, you're at 9 o'clock. 12. And 3 o'clock. Gets a bit honky, so yeah, let's put it back at around 12 o'clock. Treble, very dark. It's still a bit dark with it at 12 o'clock, so let's add a bit more. Yeah, and then we have the volume, and I will not play around with that because that's basically just how loud it is. Yeah, so we can then try and set the clean channel in the high gain position. So then we get this. So they're just adding a bit of gain. Let's have it without any. So it's well, it's a crunch channel. Not really anything I would use for metal. There might be like in a rock situation where it's appropriate with this amount of gain. At least for playing power chords. Then I would more use it as a clean sound in a metal setting, maybe in a black metal setting. And a bit more gain. And with all the and let's try and add the bright switching with all the gain. Not a channel that gets a lot of use for me, only if I really need like a kind of link part. So moving on to the lead channel. Again, so we have a lead channel with a high and a low gain setting, and we also have a contour switch. Right now I have the contour switch on. I really think it sounds the best in that configuration. So it sounds like this. So this is the low gain lead channel. So if I switch off the contour setting, we get this. So the contour switch is kind of a mid boost, very broad mid boost, I think. And it just makes it sound a lot more present and a lot, well, more fitting. Else it's like really like late 90s scoop. This is at least for me the way it sounds. Just have the gain at 12. So now we have the gain at like 9 o'clock, and this is the lowest amount of gain you're going to get on this channel. Then we can add it back up to 12. So a good amount of gain, but not kind of metal in any way, right? But rock, I guess it's this channel's territory. Gain at clock. Yeah, just when discussing gain, let's try and add in an overdrive. So classic settings, note drive, some boost with the volume and a bit of tonal boost. And definitely make a metal channel on the channel 3, so to say, the lead low gain channel. Let's add a bit of reverb to play some leads. I'd say this is very kind of recording friendly lead. It doesn't have too much gain, so it's not like a lot of this. But it sustains pretty well, and it sings in a nice way. On the other hand, there's not that much gain, so it makes it a bit harder to play. You have to put a bit more kind of force into it to make the note actually sound out and sound nice. But I think it works pretty well. Yeah. So for now, let's just switch this off again and go through the EQ. Actually, I'm gonna roll it back to around 12 o'clock, middle position with the channel. Add some bass. It gets thicker. But it doesn't really get a lot of like oomph. Sounds bassy, but not. So I wouldn't dial in that much bass. On the contrary, removing some of the bass just makes it sound thin. So again, it tends to just be nice around 12 o'clock. I guess if you have a very bright or very dark cabinet, you can use this to adjust, but in general, 12 o'clock it works. So for the mids, it's kind of one of those things where this is a bit interesting. So it actually has two mid controls. It has a low mid and a high mid. So I could guess that low mid is maybe 300 or 400 hertz, and high mid is probably like 1,000 or thereabouts. So let's mess around. I had it at 1 o'clock, which is what I had it set to. Let's try and boost it to 3 o'clock. Let me just kill the reverb. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't seem this knob is doing all that much. I had down at 11, and let's try and put it down at 9. So the signal gets a bit thinner, but it's not a lot of tone or kind of tonal space that this knob controls. So I guess it's either pretty narrow in bandwidth, the cut or the boost, or else it just doesn't have a lot of range, so it's only like maybe 1 or 2 dB. Might be a lot more, but I don't hear a big difference from messing around with this knob compared to the others. So if I go to next the high mid, I also have 1 o'clock now. And then if we set that to maybe just at 3 o'clock, hear a big difference. And all the way up. So this seems to be where kind of really most of the actual guitar tone is, the center of the guitar tone is in that range. So it can get like a bit too much and you don't really hear the highs or the lows. If I try to set it at 12 o'clock, we have... It's not really dark, and I can make it even darker and almost make the guitar disappear. So it sounds like somebody's playing guitar in the next room, right? And I haven't even turned it down all the way. If I do that. Pretty usable. I guess it's never really usable to have any mid knob at 0. But let's try and turn it back up to around 1. And last we have the treble. Yeah, again around 1. It seems to be as much of a presence knob as it is a treble knob, so it kind of adds some twang to the tone. So 12 there, and let's put it at 10. So now it's just generally a very dark sounding guitar. So again, I enjoy it at around 1 or 2 o'clock. Yeah, so let's go to the last channel, which is both of these buttons engaged. So this is the high gain lead channel with the contour engaged. And I don't have the tube screw engaged, I don't have the reverb on, just the preamp by itself. And it's not the kind of thickest sounding preamp, but it's a very recording friendly sound. It doesn't have a ton of low end, it doesn't have a ton of noise, and the gain you can adjust to where it saturates without being like over the top and fizzy. To remember a Behemoth song. Let's try and throw in a reverb. Play some lead. Yeah, so I would say in general, both for the rhythm and for the leads, you don't really need an overdrive, but you can, so let's try and do that. It gets a lot more noisy, but... as well. Now, so taking the out again. I only have the gain at around 12, so let's try and crank the gain instead. The gain is so when you turn up the gain this high, it starts to actually kind of be a bit loose and so it sounded tight on the palm mutes, and it's generally maybe a bit too much gain. It works. And if that's not enough gain, let's try adding a tube screw. Yes, because everything gets better with a tube screw in front, right? Yeah. But really where I think this channel works great if you have the gain around 12. Many people might think that like, it's not quite enough gain, but really I think it's enough that it sounds full and it doesn't sound like you're lacking gain. But at the same time, it's low enough that you have to work a bit for it. So you push the pick through the strings a bit more and just make it sound a lot better. Rather than when you have too much gain and you don't have to work for it at all, then you don't kind of pick as hard and it sounds maybe not as good. This is without too. yeah, so overall I would say that the ENGL E530 is a great preamp. It has a lot of great sounds in it. You can't really dial in very different sounds with the tone knobs. It kind of has one setting per channel where it sounds good, but each channel has a lot of usable gain. Kind of on each channel, the gain is usable all the way from almost nothing to almost full. Maybe a little too little on the clean channel and a bit too much on the high gain lead channel. You can definitely kind of go a bit overboard. But generally a lot of cool sounds. So if you already have some amp like the 6505 or similar that you can use as a power amp and you would like to kind of expand on your possibilities, I would say getting this preamp is definitely a nice way to go, especially because it's been out for some years, so you should be able to grab it used for around 300 bucks, euros or dollars, I think, which makes it a really good deal. And I would say it's built like a tank. I had mine for several years and dragged it around to various rehearsal spaces, and I changed tubes on it once, which it changed the tone a little bit, but not by much. I changed from the original ENGL tubes to JJ preamp tubes, and it only has 2 tubes, but it's pretty straightforward to do. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. I really like this. This is kind of my go-to sound for the moment, even though this setup looks kind of pretty bad, but I like it. Yeah, so thanks you guys for watching, and see you next time. Bye!